And a very pleasant good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Tornado Talk, where we talk all things Brevard College Tornado Athletics. Glad you're able to join us this evening. We've got an exciting show on tap. Guests from softball, or check that, guests from baseball, guests from women's lacrosse, guests from the athletic training staff, and really looking forward to an exciting show this evening. But before we get started, do want to share with you our sponsors. Really appreciate their continued support of Brevard College Tornado Athletics, Arby's, BSN Sports, eGolf 4 to Brevard, Hampton Inn, Ingalls, Jets Pizza, Pardee Sports Medicine, Pepsi, Sully Steamers, Triangle Stop, and Young Transportation. Appreciate their support of Brevard College Tornado Athletics, and also a special recognition for Pardee Sports Medicine and Southeastern Sports Medicine Orthopedics, the official healthcare provider for the BC Tornadoes. In addition to the outstanding quality of care provided by the orthopedic doctors, Pardee also offers care in the areas of oncology, cardiovascular, primary care, and several subspecialties. Pardee Sports Medicine, proud partners with Brevard College Tornado Athletics. Well, a lot to catch you up on. The students are back after spring break, and the spring sports were in full bloom. Baseball's off to a hot start, 10-5 to start the season, 6-1 at Gilcone Field, and a couple big wins as of late. One of them, the 10-8 victory over a very strong Piedmont team on the road. Baseball then went on to win 2 of 3 in a series at Berea. And now baseball returns home for a game that was a late addition to the schedule, taking on Cortland, the 17th ranked team in the nation, on Wednesday at 2 p.m. at Gilcone Field. Hope you can join us for that. And then the Tornadoes will begin USA South Conference play with a trip to Buena Vista, Virginia, to take on Southern Virginia this weekend. Softball had a big win over the break versus Huntington, a 2-0 victory in an event in Raleigh, North Carolina. And then the softball team returns home, a doubleheader on Saturday. Hope you can join us for this. Either come on out to the BC softball field, 1 o'clock, the doubleheader begins versus Carolina University. We'll also have that live on YouTube. Women's tennis has been on a roll, 5 straight wins, including a 4-0 record on their trip to Hilton Head Island this past week. Hannah Hirsch named Women's Tennis Player of the Week. A great piece of news there after all those great results from the women's tennis team. Men's and women's tennis will be back in action on Sunday. That's at 12 noon at the McCoy Tennis Complex. USA South Conference action versus NC Wesleyan. Track and field will have their season opener at the Trojan Opener. That's in Anderson, South Carolina this weekend. And men's lacrosse will be back in action on Saturday, opening its USA South Conference schedule at Huntington. That's Saturday in Montgomery, Alabama. Men's lacrosse returns home with a game versus Pfeiffer. That's Tuesday at 3 p.m. Not this Tuesday, but the following Tuesday at Ives Lamel Family Field. Women's lacrosse has been on a roll as well, 4-1 to start the 2023 season, an 18-5 win over Sweetbriar on the road since we saw you last, and then a big 16-11 win over Guilford. And the Tornadoes continue to rack up these Player of the Week awards for the USA South Conference across all sports. Autumn Kramer named USA South Offensive Player of the Week, and Paige Knibular wins USA South Rookie of the Week. So congratulations to Autumn and Paige. Next up for women's lacrosse, a game tomorrow, Tuesday, 2 p.m. at Ives Lamel Family Field. That's versus Meredith in USA South Conference action. And then a road trip to Montgomery, Alabama this Saturday in Huntington. And with that, we're going to invite in our first guest of the evening. Really excited to have the Brevard College women's lacrosse coaching staff with us, head coach Kristin Rosato and assistant coach Roya Tahmassebi. Coach Rosato, thanks for being here.
Hey, Phil.
Hello, and Coach Tahmassebi, great to have you here as well.
Hey, Phil.
Yeah, great to have you. By the way, folks, Coach Tahmassebi, Roya Tahmassebi, has been helping us on the sports information side. So, all the cool graphics and things you see during a typical edition of Tornado Talk, she handles a lot of that. And it's great to have you now on this side of the camera talking some lacrosse. So thank you, Coach Tahmassebi. Well, Coach Rosato, let's start with you. What a great start to the season. 4-1 on this young season so far, but the record speaks for itself in so many ways. What an outstanding start. Tell us what you've seen through your lens.
Yeah, so obviously we're really excited. We're off to the start that we hoped for. Brandoff, I think, kind of set the tone for how we could play, and the adversity and obstacles that kind of get in your way during games and moments and situations, and trying to work through those. And I think it's given the team a lot of confidence to deal with situations right off the bat. And since then, we've just kind of been rolling. We're getting stronger and stronger in situations. I think defense is an absolute unit right now. WLAX is making big saves. We have the middies, Parker, Paige, and Emily, getting up and down the field and creating opportunities for the team and kind of setting the tone. And then offense is getting it done. Look at our schedule and see our results. We're scoring goals left and right now, which is awesome. So overall, it's been a team effort. It's kind of been the trend of the year, is really focusing on team and that unity. And I think really the Guilford game was kind of like the kind of big push, and we really wanted that game to kind of set the tone for the year. And I said it earlier today, and I'll say it again. I don't think we would have won that game last year. I don't think we had the unity like we do this year. And as a result of just being a team and having each other's back, we got a big win. So, we're really excited. Definitely have a big test tomorrow, but we're really excited currently where we are.
Outstanding. And Coach Tahmassebi, I'd love to dig in a little more as far as, that spring break trip, 3 consecutive road games, a game at Averett, but then, the games at Sweetbriar, at Guilford, coming up with the 2 wins. But, just, collectively, as the team goes to go on the road during spring break when there's not academic, requirements and that kind of thing, and probably able to bond in a lot of ways. Tell us even more about how that week went for y'all.
Yeah. 5 days on the road. I always joke, I think one more day, something bad might have happened. So I think 5 days was the perfect amount of time. But I think, between the game days that we were having, 3 games in 5 days is huge. It's a lot, puts a lot on the players. And then coming back to the hotel and being able to kind of decompress, hang out. We played cards a lot. Girls are taking ice baths, right? It's a lot of bonding that happens. And it's the type of bonding that happens when you're all crammed in a hotel together. And, you're talking to different people, you're talking about fun things that maybe you wouldn't talk about when you normally, see your teammates at practice. And so honestly, I think away trips like that are necessary. And, as Riz was talking about earlier, right, we're focusing on that team aspect this year. And that's where that happens, is with the team bonding, with them hanging out together. They're getting hangry at the same time and learning how to deal with that. We're going for coffee runs in the morning. It's fun. It's a fun time to hang out. And I think that kind of bonding that happens off the field is what translates to the good wins that we have. Playing together as a team isn't just about, playing with your teammates. It's playing with your friends. It's knowing things about each other that helps you kind of want to grow and mold. So it's exciting to kind of see the team come together, be friends, and it's cool to see how that's translating into some pretty solid wins.
Yeah, no doubt. And, now we turn the page, Coach Rosato, to USA South Conference play. It begins tomorrow against, an outstanding Meredith team, and then, keeps on going with the road trip to Montgomery, Alabama, then back at home against Greensboro before we know it. As far as taking it to that next level, once you get into conference play and how much meaningful and, valuable those wins are, what's the message to the team heading into conference play?
Yeah, I kind of like that we're starting with Meredith, because at the end of the day, if we want to win conference, we have to go through them. And so we need to set the tone. They're going to set the tone for us. And so we have to match it, and we're going to have to compete on everything. We kind of debrief as coaches after every practice. And the biggest thing we talked about is just on to the next one, short-term memory. If they score, if something happens, 0-0, next ball, let's compete on everything. And that's really the game plan for tomorrow. We're not going to go in afraid. We have no pressure on us tomorrow. They're the ones that are defending defending champions in the conference. So they're the ones that are really going to have to, make sure they show up and they're ready to go. For us, there's no pressure. We go out and we play. If we pull it off, fantastic. If we don't, we'll reset, reevaluate, get ready for Huntington. I don't think this is a game that we want to put too much pressure on them and try to put them up against, someone, build this up to be something bigger than it has to be. We know their talent, we know their abilities. And so I think it's a great opportunity for us to get better, for us to compete and get us ready for these big games coming up at Huntington, Greensboro next week. These are games that, in my mind, we should win, and we're the favorites. And so big test tomorrow, but I think it's really going to help us get ready for the following games.
Yeah, I appreciate that answer, Coach. And, that nothing to lose mentality. It's March Madness time where everybody's paying attention to the NCAA basketball tournament, and, just wild upsets happen left and right. So, it's certainly within reach and that kind of thing. And, it does put some pressure on the favorite heading into games like this. Coach, some more results this past week included a couple of individual awards. Autumn Kramer named USA South Offensive Player of the Week, and also Paige Nybuller named USA South Rookie of the Week. Coach Tahmassebi, tell us a little more about these two student athletes and how gratifying it is to see these kind of awards, come about.
Listen, the fact that Autumn got this award this week is massive. I mean, she had a knee injury last year. She had a knee injury this year. She's pushing through a lot of physical things right now. And, for her to be able to pull this off is massive. Her leadership on offense is huge. And I mean, with the amount of goals that she scored came a huge amount of assists from Parker, I will say. The two of them on the field is beautiful to watch. They make great connections. They do a great job. And I mean, same with Paige. She is killing it. Like, Guilford was her game. She showed up, she took the ball, she did what she had to do. And Paige actually came up to me after the game and she said, "Coach, I don't like scoring. I want to assist." And so even after a great game like that, she's even coming back and saying, "Listen, I want to be the one to help my teammates get there." And it's a beautiful mentality to have. I turned around and said, "Sorry, Paige, suck it up, score some goals." But it's a good mentality to have. And, I want to note that these are two pretty offensive set players, and they're able to be this successful because defense is able to make those stops. Offense is never successful just on their own. I mean, it starts with a save from Lex, a clear from defense to the middies to offense. It starts with the draw. It's a full team effort that allowed these players to be able to get recognized for their work. So it's beautiful to see. I think Paige is growing a lot where she is. Autumn's growing, and she's kind of helping build the confidence of the other players on the field. So the two of them are highly deserve these awards.
Yeah, just some of the numbers that supported that award. Paige with a career best 7 points on 5 goals and 2 assists. Got it done in the ground balls and draw control categories as well in that big win over Guilford. And then Autumn, 16 points on 11 goals and 5 assists on the week. A new single game program record with 12 points on 9 goals and 3 assists versus Sweetbriar. Coach Rosato, maybe just the final word for you as far as, this point of the season as we continue to roll along, and, maybe a message to all of our supporters as far as, just how special this year's team is. And we'd love to see them out at the game.
Yeah. I mean, I think, Roya and I knew we had a lot of talent this year. And we've had some injuries. We've been dealing with a lot. But it hasn't really slowed us down. And so, getting some people coming back, hopefully get Asht back in the next couple weeks coming back from surgery. We have one out right now with a concussion. So getting these players back is only going to help, give us a little bit of support, give some people some subs, and I think the momentum is going to keep going. So, we're going to take it one game at a time. I would just say to any fans, come out and support the women's lacrosse team. I think one thing, we are very entertaining. Even if it's a bad day at the office, there's always someone yelling. There's always someone encouraging. I'm proud of the team and where we're at 4-1. For me, I think I always knew it was doable, but again, everything has to kind of go right for wins to happen. And so I'm proud of the team and our effort. Keep pushing them and make sure that as a team, we keep having success. That's important.
Outstanding. Here, seeing a message here from Toby Naylor. Coach, while we have you, also tell us a little bit about Toby's contributions to the program.
Yeah, I think Toby has been fantastic for the team. I mean, he's looked at as a coach at this point. He does all the circuits and a lot of the strength and conditioning stuff we do. So he's big in the weight room. He does, if we have some fitness components into practice, we let him do that. So we really have given him a lot. He's a student. And so being able to set those boundaries with the players, that's been really important. And he's really done a great job. He actually showed up to our Guilford game. And I think provided a little bit of energy. Coach, as Roy and I, we have been on the road all week. We were exhausted at that point. And so to have Toby come in with some fresh energy, I think was huge for the team. And so really, really grateful for Toby and all of its efforts so far this year with us.
Yeah, most of NATO Nation knows Toby, of course, from his stellar football career here with the Tornadoes, but great to see him getting his coaching, career started on the women's lacrosse side of things. Well, coaches, can you stick with us just a couple moments more? We're going to bring in your student athletes who are patiently waiting to enter the program here, as Lex MacLauchlin is here, and also Alyse Moore. Let's start with you, Roya. Coach Roya, help us introduce these two to NATO Nation.
These two. They're good. They're good. They're fun. I'll start with Lex. I spend a lot of time with Lex. I warm her up before practices, before games. We work on goalie drills. We hang out a lot. She's fun. She's good energy. She's a really good leader on the defensive side. She's the one that sees the whole field. So she's got a good voice. She's got a good eye. And I mean, with her, so I joke, right? Her name's Lex. When it's game day, she's Lux. It flew out of my mouth one day, but the way that she just switches into that game day mode is huge. And the way that she's grown from last year to this year has been so fun to watch, and it's really impressive. I mean, she's our only goalie right now. She's got a lot of pressure on her to stay upright. And, it's athletic training month. So shout out to Andrew for helping with that. But I mean, Lex is fantastic. I'm confident with her in the back of the net there. She's a great one. And then Alyse always puts a smile on my face, whether it's a sarcastic smile or not. She does. She started playing lacrosse last year, so she's new, and you would not be able to tell. Maybe last year a little bit, but this year, not at all. She is a brick wall on defense. She's a trusted player on the field. She's grown a lot. She's bonding with the team. She's really part of our family. And I mean, having these two big players on the defensive end is a reason that, we've been so successful over the past couple games. Coach
Rosato, anything to add to that?
I just think, defense doesn't get a lot of glory, and it's a tough job. And Lex, especially, she's in a lonely island as a position. She has no other goalies. It's just Lex. And so, I definitely am just grateful for both of these two. They provide a lot to this team and honestly have been a huge reason for this hot start for us.
Outstanding. Well, coaches, congrats on the hot start, 4-1 to start the season, coming off a couple big wins over spring break. Back in action tomorrow versus Meredith, 2 p.m. Tuesday at Islamel Family Field. Hope you can join us for that one. Thanks for joining the show.
See you, Phil.
Thank you.
All right, there they go. And as they helped us introduce these two, joining the program now in that upper right location is Alyse Moore. Alyse, thanks for joining the program.
Thanks for having me, Phil.
Yeah, great to have you. And also, Lex MacLauchlin is here as well. Lex, thanks for being here.
Of course, Phil.
All right, Alyse, let's start with you. I mean, tell us even more about this spring break trip. You guys came up with a couple of great results, the wins over Sweetbriar and Guilford. But, looking back on the experience, as far as the travel goes, the team bonding goes, then, of course, the wins. Tell us even more.
I really think, the time off we have in the hotels, we do probably more bonding in the hotels with that time off than we do on the field. I think when we're on the field, we all have the mindset of playing the game and getting the game done and over with and taking a win. And so when we're in the hotel, we can relax. I think we do a lot of bonding.
Yeah, and Lex, did you kind of feel that the team sort of took things to a whole different level this past week during spring break?
Oh, for sure. I mean, being in a hotel room with your teammates, you can't get away from them. So you got to get close to them.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And then a couple of great wins. This win over Sweetbriar and then against a tough Guilford team in Greensboro for you all to come up with that road win, sort of a road warrior type win. Alyse, tell us about that Guilford game. Tough competition. You guys get it done on both ends, both on offense and defense, where you specialize in.
I feel like the first half of the game defense, we weren't really playing as a unit as good as we should have been. And so during halftime, I remember Riz looking at us and she was like, the score's 9-9. So 0. Let's play as a unit. Let's play as a team. And I think from that point on, we all just kept going. And that's one thing I've noticed this year. Like during the games, none of us really get down. Like we just keep going until it's over.
Yeah, and you see that statistic there. There's been 2 games this season where you've held the opponent under 5 goals, holding Sweetbriar to 5, and then also just 1 goal allowed to Spalding. Lex, obviously you're a big part of that, as is your defense and players like Alyse. But, tell us, what the key's been for you guys as a defense, but also you as a goalkeeper, to put up these kind of numbers.
I think for defense, it's just playing as a unit. It's like Alyse was saying, we have to click into being a family and just willing to communicate and slide when we need to and just think on the fly because things don't go as you plan it. I think for me it's been a lot of just mental work, just staying locked in, not focusing on what's going on, just looking for the ball, catching the ball, clearing the ball. Got a very simple mindset and just look for the ball and don't let it in.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. You see Lex's career numbers there, 177 saves so far in 19 career games. She's a sophomore here at Brevard College. Lex, tell us a little bit about your goalkeeping journey. When did you start playing lacrosse? But then when did you lock in as a goalkeeper?
So I started playing lacrosse my freshman year of high school. I had a coach that told me he'd keep me out of trouble if I just joined the team. So that's what I did. And I started as a midfielder, actually, on the circle. I played 1 game there, and then I got in trouble and told to run. And I said, I'll go in the cage instead, actually. And I've been there ever since. I got told I wouldn't be good, so then I made it my personal mission to be good. So
Awesome. Good for you. I love that story. Alyse, now, Coach hinted at it a little bit. You're fairly new to this sport of lacrosse, just picking it up last year and, obviously a very, very quick study. Tell us about your athletic career, probably, before that, were you playing other sports? And then, tell us about this lacrosse journey of yours as well.
Yes, sir. I actually grew up playing softball all my life, and I played soccer a little bit, but not much. And so softball was always my thing. I graduated high school playing softball. And then when I decided to come here, I was coming here for the criminal justice program, actually. And it was the first fall, and I was bored. And so I had a couple friends on the lacrosse team, and they were like, you should talk to our coach. So that's when sat down with Riz, and she put me on the field, and I fell in love with it.
And then tell us a little bit, Alyse, when someone's starting to play, the sport of lacrosse from scratch like that. You hadn't played before. You were a softball player, as you just informed us. Tell us about that process, or perhaps if somebody else were going to do the same thing, what advice would you give them?
Don't quit. You got to be patient with yourself. There's a lot to lacrosse, like a lot more than people would think, and you just got to be patient and keep doing the same thing over and over again until you get it.
All right, one more for you, Alyse. Then we'll take it back to Lex. You all, the one thing I've learned about Brevard College Tornado student athletes over the years is you all are humble and you don't love talking about yourself and all these things. So, Alyse, I'm going to let you talk about your goalkeeper, Lex.
Oh,
And
God,
tell
Lex.
us what makes her so effective in goal, but also, just such a great teammate. The floor is yours, Alyse.
Lex has this mentality to keep going. Like, she will get hit with the ball over and over and over again, but you don't ever see her like walk off the field. You don't ever see her pull herself out. Lex doesn't quit. And I think when we get scored on and we're in our little defense huddle, she corrects us on what she saw happen, which really helps us all of the defense. It helps us know where to fix our mistakes. And that's one thing. And I love that when Lex is yelling at us, telling us what's going on the field, that's probably one of the things that benefits defense the most.
Awesome. Now, same opportunity for you, Lex. You have Alyse Moore, one of your key defenders right there here with you. Tell NATO Nation about Alyse.
Oh, where do I start? I mean, Roya had it right with a brick wall. Alyse is just so fast to pick up on things. So we see a girl that keeps driving from the top, we send Alyse up there. I mean, she's fast, she's quick on her feet, and she's not letting anyone in. She's so competitive. One goal in the back of the net, and she's mad. And so, Spalding, she was mad that they got one on us, And so it's just very, calming to be able to trust Alyse is going to stop that girl and keep her from the top. Even if she's on the other side of the field, Alyse is going to get in front of her. And Roya had it right with brick wall. That's the best I've got. Alyse is just so quick to learn, so quick to pass it up, pick it up, and just a great player. And I wouldn't be anything without him.
Awesome. Great stuff. Each of y'all. And, we love watching you guys and, sometimes the defense is a little bit of the, the unsung heroes in the whole process. And it's great to kind of dig into it a little further. Well, let's take things from the playing field to the classroom and what you guys are up to here at Brevard College academically. Lex, let's start with you. Have you zeroed in on a major, and what are you working on in the classroom?
I have. I'm a business major with an art minor.
Very good. And, tell us more about each and perhaps some of your ambitions.
So the business major here at Brevard is huge. It's a great, degree to go into. The professors are super close knit and with the small classrooms. Cam Austin is one of the professors. He's my best friend. They're always there to help you. The art division is a little different. It's very close knit as well, but it's almost like a community. My art class, we have 3 people in it at most, and it's just they're always here to help you and help you out wherever you can. Make sure that you're staying on task.
Very good. And Alyse Moore, same question for you. Have you zeroed in on a major, and what are you working on academically?
I am a criminal justice major with a psychology as a minor. And I will say the criminal justice program here is, I don't think anywhere could beat it. Our professors, Mareshi, Dr. Workman, they are very, very close with their students. And that's one thing that I love about going here is how close they make personal relationships with each of us.
And Alyse, talking to other criminal justice majors, I know a lot of y'all, sort of already have a career path, in mind. Have you looked that far ahead as far as what you might want to use the degree for ultimately?
I want to be a homicide detective later on, but I think right now I'm going to do BLET next semester or next year, and then we'll go from there.
And then one follow-up for you, Lex, folks might not realize, but you've been helping out around campus and, with athletics as well as a still photographer, learning, that craft, and also, shooting live sports, which isn't easy. It takes a lot of skill and experience and that kind of thing. Tell us a little bit about the photography and that interest of yours.
So photography was kind of something I fell into. Tori, our old photographer, and I were pretty close. And when she left, there was a gap that needed to be filled. Tori took pictures for all of us. So I just reached out to Kristin Cobble and asked, like, hey, what do I got to do to get out there? I've always been interested in photography, but never really sports photography. And the first men's basketball game I shot, it was like the best time I've ever had. And it was just so cool, like figuring it out on the fly. So after that, I just kind of fell in love with it. I now run the football Instagram as well. So I take a lot of their photos. I took men's lacrosse today. It's a great time. It's just something I kind of picked up, really kind of fell into that spot and just really enjoyed it.
Very cool. Well, we certainly appreciate it, as a sports information staff and, for members of NATO Nation, as you're following the Tornadoes, when you see stuff on social media, when you see things on bctornadoes.com, it's students like Lex who are providing so much of that artwork. So we appreciate that. Well, before we let you go, as is tradition here at Tornado Talk, you each are going to have the opportunity to give any shout outs or thank yous to anyone who has helped you along the way. Alyse, we'll start with you. Shout outs or thank yous?
Yeah, I want to shout out my parents for always supporting me and watching my dog when we go on away trips. And my defense, the offense, my teammates, my coaches. Thank you.
Very good. Same opportunity for you, Lex.
All right. Well, of course, my team. Defense can't win without offense, and offense can't win without us. But more specifically, my defense. Like I said, I'd be nothing without defense. I would just be a little lonely island, like Riz was saying. So, like Cass, Grace Blanton, Alyse, Josh, and then my middies that come down and help us, like thank you to defense. Toby Naylor, who always pushes me to be the best I can be, like person and athlete-wise. And then Andrew for keeping me standing up straight and taping me up when I need it the most.
All right, Lex, I don't know if you know the art of the segue when it comes to TV and radio programs like this, but you just set it up perfectly because we're going to have the athletic trainers in here next to celebrate National Athletic Trainers Month. So thank you for that. And thank you both for joining the program this evening. Congrats on just a fantastic start for the women's lacrosse program. Best of luck as you head into USA South Conference play. And we'll be following every step of the way. Alyse Moore and Lex MacLauchlin, thanks for joining the show.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you, Phil.
All right, there they go. We're going to switch gears quickly here as Lex so graciously, was able to set us up for this one as we bring in our athletic training staff here at Brevard College. Noah Reisig in that upper right corner, the head athletic trainer here at Brevard. Noah, thanks for joining the program.
Thanks for having us on tonight, Phil.
Yeah, excited to have you. And also in that bottom location, from our studios here at Brevard College, assistant athletic trainer Nicole Harshbarger and also assistant athletic trainer Andrew Westrick. Thanks for joining the show as well, Nicole and Andrew.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, outstanding. Well, it's National Athletic Trainers Month. And let's start with you, Noah. As far as, our opportunity to really celebrate what you all do, as far as, the hard work that's put in and, just how valuable you are to college athletics. But, when you think of National Athletic Trainers Month, Noah, and you being on the inside as far as knowing, just how much work gets put into this, and all across the country, how many people like you and your staff are working hard to keep these student athletes healthy. What comes to mind when you sort of reflect on the, the trade of athletic trainers as a whole?
Oh man, Phil. So I would say like the biggest thing with us is we're wanting our athletes and to like coaches to succeed on and off the field, whether that be somebody to talk to, full time, whether it's injury related, personal, stuff like that. So we are really kind of want to give our kids, we call them our kids because that's what they feel like, but kind of a person to go to, whether it be again with that injury related or whether it just be needing somebody to talk to. So the countless hours, and we do it all for them.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. And Nicole, I'd love to hear you add to that as far as, sort of the holistic side of athletic training and how it's more than just, taking care of knees and ankles and that kind of thing, but, the overall student athlete well-being. Tell us even more.
Yeah. really it is that holistic approach. I've had a lot of, we'll say, counseling sessions with athletes who have come and just been like, hey, I'm just having a really hard time with whatever, personal life, class, this teacher, I need some advice on how to talk to somebody, whether it be, their coach, their boss at work, their teammate, their, you name it. And so I've had many of those conversations, and I hope that they've taken something away from that. But it's always, there's two sides. There's the physical side and the mental side, and a lot of people kind of forget about the mental side. And having those connections that we have with our athletes really helps, give them the opportunity to have someone else to reach out to and ask advice, and just talk to when they're having a bad day. And so that's how we are.
And Andrew Westrick with us as well. Andrew, you're the newest member of this staff, and would love to hear your reflections on how you're enjoying Brevard College and this experience to begin with, but also just your entry into this field of athletic training, and how much you're enjoying that, and maybe what if students who are watching this are maybe thinking, man, maybe that's a career for me. Tell us about your path, but also the benefits of becoming an athletic trainer.
Sure. So, starting off here, it's my first year outside of school. Before this, all I've really gotten was snippets with like rotations. My program, I did 8 weeks, so I'd get here and there, get to know them, and then I'm out. Starting here, almost through an entire year now, it's been really enjoyable. It's been really nice getting to follow everyone from like preseason through season and out of season, and like get to build those relationships that are lasting longer than a couple weeks. Kind of to touch on like what Nicole said, we spend a lot of time with them. Nicole and I, we travel with football and the basketballs that we each cover. So like especially when you're on the road, you see a lot of them outside of just practice and kind of how they just are as people. So that's been super enjoyable. In terms of working, the hours are long. I think kind of what you asked at the end there, people getting into it, you have to understand that. But I think it's really worth it getting to see, how much they can appreciate things that you do, how much the coaches, whoever it may be, like appreciates what you do. And then just, you get in the profession because you love sports. That's, why all of us are here. We really enjoy it. So just getting to incorporate that into our lives, and that's our careers, really great. I started off wanting to go into physical therapy. I just couldn't really, I didn't really vibe with physical therapy all that much. Being in a room, it's an important job, but the daily living things, I wanted to be beyond that. I wanted to be in the sport. So, I found athletic training, and that's what I changed my career path to when I was in college, and now I'm here and just really enjoying what I'm doing.
Very good. Also with us, Noah Reisig, the head athletic trainer. Noah, part of your duties, of course, is managing the staff. You're all here, but also the scheduling side of it with so many sports and so many events here at Brevard College. Take us behind the curtain a little bit as far as how you, as a staff, are able to cover all these sports here at Brevard.
Oh, for starters, Phil, I could not do this alone. Those two down there on the screen together, I couldn't do it without those two, and they've been a godsend to me this year. So we just kind of developed a good relationship working and communicating. And hey, you've worked X amount of days in a row. Let me cover this for you. Hey, you've already worked 10 hours today. I've got this. You go home. Type thing. Or hey, you have a late practice or game, come in later. I can see your patient for this. So we kind of all just kind of take turns rotating a little bit and kind of making do with what we have right now. So again, without those two, we couldn't be as successful as we have been this year.
Yeah, and so folks know, the different trainers have different sports responsibilities. They're embedded with the team, where they can give that, close, high knowledge, service to our student athletes. And Nicole, for instance, works with football, men's basketball, tennis, softball, and baseball. Nicole, tell us a little bit about that, sort of assemblage of sports that you have under your umbrella. That we're talking about some different sports, some different needs, I'd imagine, from the athletic training standpoint. Tell us even more.
Yeah, so fall season is a very high intense, very adrenaline filled season as we work through our collision sport, football, and cheer also in there as they're doing their stunting, and not as high collision as football, but still they do fall on each other. And then transitioning over to men's basketball, it's still kind of high adrenaline, but it's a little less crazy, so you take a little bit of a breath. And then in the spring, baseball, softball, and tennis are much more relaxed, and it's nice to take a step back and work on some different injuries. In the fall, I see a lot more acute, so things that happen right away, or a lot of blood. And in the spring, I tend to see a little bit more like, hey, my arm's been hurting for 3 weeks now. And so it's a little bit more of those chronic, those long-term injuries that take a little bit of time, but they pop up just as much as the new injuries, and a little bit of different techniques. A lot of times in the spring, we tend to do a little bit more, or I do because of my sports, tend to do a little bit more manual therapy, as that's what is called for. And in the fall, we tend to do a little bit more exercise rehab focused. Not that we don't do the manual therapy, but it's not as high demand as it is in the spring with the sports and the types of injuries that I see. So it's kind of a rush from August to December, and then it kind of slows down a little bit, and nice to breathe and see some different things.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Andrew works on the football program as well with Nicole, women's basketball, women's lacrosse, and then you split the duties of the men's soccer program with Noah. Andrew, tell us about your group of sports and, sort of your learnings now that you've worked with, these 4 sports this season.
Yeah, it's so, at least with football, I worked with football when I was a student, so I had a little bit of idea, kind of how that went. Kind of like what Nicole said, you got that high impact. She did really well in explaining kind of how that was. I had a different side of things with men's soccer in the fall where it was a little bit slower. You kind of get like some of those more chronic things. Games, I'm maybe going out once or twice versus football, onto the field versus football. Sometimes we're on the walkies just like, you got it? Okay, great. And just trying to figure that out. So I had a very big change of pace within the same, fall season. Women's basketball, it slows down. A lot more like that blood management kind of stuff. That was a sport that I had never worked before, haven't really been around. So I had to kind of, learn about the sport so I could learn how to best address issues that they were having. That I found a really good way to do that is kind of meet them in their territory, learn from the players. Obviously, they're playing it for a reason. They got the knowledge. They love the game. So I've kind of incorporated that into lacrosse then. So I have a stick when I was 12. I run around the field. I pick up balls, try and chat with them, learn about the game. And I think that's helped. They come to me with some various things, and I'm trying to think. I'm like, okay, how does that affect this movement? Which is a huge part of what we do, making sure that they're moving properly, making sure that they're not, compensating and causing other issues. And I think that that's something that I've seen more with, the basketball, with the men's soccer. And you see it with football, but it tends to, those high impacts, sometimes it gets overshadowed by the bigger injuries that they kind of get from that. But it's been interesting, the change in pace, the different things that we have to deal with. You kind of just got to be able to go with the flow and understand, what sport demands what treatments.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. And Noah Reisig, in addition to his administrative duties as head athletic trainer, splits the duties of men's soccer with Andrew, as we mentioned, also volleyball, women's soccer, cross country, track and field, men's lacrosse, and cycling. Noah, tell us a little bit about that group of sports. Once again, a very diverse offering, but hey, you guys got to get this stuff covered, and you guys do a great job of kind of dividing and conquering here.
Yeah, so a big part of that is definitely knowing the team you're working with personality. Whether you can push a group of kids and athletes a little bit harder, kind of they're used to that, or again, going back to like Andrew and Nicole said, very different variety of injuries compared from say men's lacrosse to women's soccer or volleyball. So you kind of got to know what the position they play is, and what they need to do to succeed, but also kind of how to work with each of the athletes, because they are all very different in good ways, but you kind of just have to know who you're working with and what they do for their sport.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Noah, last one for you before we let you guys go. I know you have a busy schedule. Party Sports Medicine, they joined our group of sponsors this year, a big partnership with the Brevard College Tornado Athletic Department. I'd love for your comments on what Party has done in terms of helping you all in your operation, but also how critical it is to have that partner, if a student requires even further care, from a doctor and so forth.
Yes, I think the partnership with Party has been super wonderful to have. We have several of our doctors and surgeons phone numbers so we can call them, or if we need to get an athlete seen the next day. Their urgent care is right down the road, so we're constantly referring athletes if they need x-rays or just a second opinion on stuff down there, and the turnaround's been super quick for our athletes. They can kind of be in and seen very quickly. Hopefully not many more for this year, but definitely want to continue this partnership and very grateful for it.
And we are grateful for you, Noah, not just here during National Athletic Trainers Month, but all year round, and all the hard work you all put in to keep our student athletes healthy, safe, well-being included amongst that as well. Nicole Harshbarger, Andrew Westrick, and also Noah Reisig with us this evening. And, just thanks again from all of us at NATO Nation, all of us at the Department of Athletics, all of us at Brevard College for all you all do for our student athletes.
Thank you, Phil.
Thanks, Phil.
Thanks, Phil.
All right, there they go. We're going to switch gears quickly here, as really appreciate the athletic trainers joining us this evening as we celebrate National Athletic Trainers Month, and just our gratitude for all that they do to keep our student athletes healthy. As bringing in our baseball coaches, great to have these two with us once again. Head coach Mike Victory and also associate head coach Rob Julian. Coach Victory, thanks for joining the show.
Glad to be back, Phil. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, great to have you. And also associate head coach Rob Julian. Welcome back, Coach.
Thanks for having us, Phil. Always appreciate it.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, Coach Victory, let's start with you. As far as like this juncture of the season, where we're at, 10-5 to start the year, continuing a lot of success at home, in particular, 6-1 record at Gil Cone Field. But sort of at this juncture of the season, as we are, just around the corner is the start of USA South Conference play. Please give us a bit of a State of the Union.
I think we're glad with some of the early success that we had, but certainly not satisfied with where we end up. I think we've let a couple games slip away from us that our guys would say we should have won, and I think that's the standard for our guys, is knowing that we always could have done a little bit better. And we've used some time over spring break to work on some of our deficiencies, to continue to grow as a group. And we're definitely really excited to start USA South play this weekend. Lucked into an extra game coming up on Wednesday too, after a little bit of a layoff. Glad our guys will, get out and play a little bit before we head into the weekend. happy with where we are, but we know we got a lot more to do.
Yeah, and Coach Julian, I'd love for you build on that as far as, this past week being spring break, all this extra time you guys were able to have to, one, I would imagine, rest up in a little ways and recoup a little, recharge the batteries, but also get some valuable work in. And then, of course, this game on Wednesday that we've added against a tough opponent heading into conference play.
Yeah, for sure. It was nice to have a little bit of a break where we could kind of take the foot off the gas for a second. And we have some guys that had some lingering things going on. They were able to, get healthy and be ready to go for this week. Obviously, like Coach mentioned, we had a few that we thought slipped away from us. So it was nice to be able to work on some things throughout the week to, make sure those things never happen again. Obviously with Cortland coming on Wednesday, it's going to be fun. Like you said, they're really good. So we're excited to get out there and play against them.
Yeah, ranked 17th in the nation, so a ranked opponent coming into Gill's place. Coach Victory, since we saw you last, there was a very meaningful win in Georgia, the 10-8 result over Piedmont at the start of this month. For those who may have, missed that game, not able to tune into the live stream or whatnot, I'd love for you to sort of take NATO Nation back through that one and just, how big of a win that was for the program as well.
Yeah, short but long trip through the mountains to get down to Demorest. It's a well-coached team. It's a team that has earned itself some national recognition this year, but a team that we know really well. Went down there and threw one of our Georgia guys, Adam ourselves, and got a tremendous pitching performance from Jacob Thompson. And the guys showed up and they hit, and they did what we did really, really well. I think if you ask any of the guys on our team, it's another win for us. I think it was an expectation to go down there and get one on a midweek. I don't think they see Piedmont as someone that we can't go out and beat on any given day. It was certainly nice to go out, score some runs, get a strong pitching performance from our starter, and enjoy, a good win midweek. We don't play a ton of midweek games. We don't have to, go through that very often. So it's a different experience, especially going on the road, getting out of class, doing those kind of things. So it's good to have those wins and test our depth a little bit.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Coach Julian, Coach Victory talked about Jacob Thompson's performance. We had him on an earlier edition of Tornado Talk, but would love to hear you even further about his performance as a starting pitcher in that game, but also just the pitching staff in general and how they're getting it done.
Yeah, I mean, whenever JT was on here, we talked. He's always prepared, always ready to go. He's a gamer. He wants the ball. I mean, you got to pry it from him whenever we're going to bring somebody else in the game. Even that Piedmont game, we tried to take the ball from him, and he was like, "No, like JT, you're at 120, man. Like, let us go in another direction." But that's just him. He wants the ball. He wants to compete, and he's gonna give us a good one. But the pitching staff as a whole, overall, I think we've done pretty well. We've given ourselves a chance to win. Most of the time, and the times that we haven't, the offense has stepped up and been able to help us out a little bit. We know that there's going to be a lot more tougher games down the road that we're going to have to come ready to go, but we're going to always be prepared. We're going to always have a plan, and at that point we just got to go out and execute.
Yeah, and speaking of executing, we talked about this some last time, but in terms of this home field advantage at Gilcone Field, 6-1 this season, but at the same time, we're in this stretch right now as far as not having too many home games other than this one on Wednesday. Really kind of getting used to being on the road and so forth. There was a series at Berea, which is a fairly long trip. Winning 2 of 3 there. But Coach Victory, as far as that dynamic. Winning on the road, protecting, things at Gilcone Field. What does it take for a team to be able to do both? Both win at home and protect that home field, but also get it done on the road.
And being good at home was step one. We knew that if we could get the ones we wanted at home, and especially if we're playing northern teams that are coming down our way, that was going to be the first step to winning records and being in the playoffs, and just being prepared to do what we do really well at our place. It's easier, right? We're there every day. You get to learn the hops. You get to learn how the outfield plays. You know what you need to do to be really, really good at home. Step 2 if you want to host playoff series and do those kind of things, you got to figure out how to travel well, how to get off the bus and play, how to, sleep in a bed with your buddy and wake up well rested and ready to go. And it's certainly an experience that older guys understand and younger guys have to learn. That these long trips, going to Berea and playing 3 nines, I think was really important to the program, especially for the younger guys to remember and understand just how long those couple of days are. Especially, we lucked out and got to go the night before to play a game or had a more of a transition time, and that was really good. But there's going to be some other trips where, we're leaving in the morning, got to play in the afternoon, and you got to know do I sleep on the bus? Do I not sleep on the bus? And it's one of those things you get better at each time you do it. Upperclassmen know their routine. They know what they can do, how much breakfast they want, how much lunch they need, how many snacks they're going to bring with them. Underclassmen have to learn what that's like. They're used to going on short school bus trips. We're taking 4 or 5 hour trips on the coach bus, and you gotta be ready to do it. But our guys know, again, like I said, if you want to be great, you're going to have to be able to get off the bus and play. If you want to go play in a regional, you're probably going to travel. So, let's get better at it. Let's practice it. Let's make sure we travel a little bit early on in the season, just so guys are ready to go.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, Coach. And Coach Julian, what are the sorts of things you perhaps instruct, in particular the pitchers, but any, ball player who says, hey, I've never taken a bus trip like this. What the heck am I supposed to be doing? And how do I get focused for the game if, I'm coming right off the bus? I'm sure you hear all sorts of things from players, but, you've been through it as a student athlete, now as a coach, and I'm sure you've got a lot of wisdom as far as, hey, here's how you handle the road.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, and I tell coaches all the time, like, I was like I slept on the bus all the time. I know that doesn't work for guys. They wake up and they're tired and it doesn't work, but I mean, that worked for me. So I might not be the one to ask that question to, just because I was able to do that. But yeah, you gotta figure out what works for you. You gotta, especially as a pitcher, you gotta know that, I might sit on a bus for 5 hours and then, have 2.5 hours to, get ready and, get my body moving and, do what I got to do to get ready to go. I think that we have a group of guys that, older guys that are prepared and they've been through it a little bit and they can mentor the young guys and, kind of understand that, maybe I can't sleep right until we get up to the field and get out and try to go. I got to make sure that, I'm up and I'm ready and I can get off the bus and be prepared and know that, we're there to take care of business.
Coach Victory, I know that part of this past week during spring break was some meaningful community service you all were able to do, locally here in Transylvania County and in the Brevard area. I know, Brevard College alum Ray Gill, who's such a big part of, all we do here with Tornado Athletics as well, was a big part of that. But, please tell us, exactly what you guys were up to this past weekend.
And we were helping out Transylvania County, County Little League. And that's been something a connection that I've wanted to make since I got here. And obviously it's been a weird 4 years for us so far, but I'm glad we're able to get in with them and do our part for that program. Ray Gill running it now does make it a little bit easier to connect with him and figure out what they need. And it's easier to ask him, and he's not afraid to tell us what he needs, which is a good relationship to have. We went out there to get them ready for their opening day, putting up signs, cleaning up the concession stand and their equipment room and anything else they might need on the field. I think that was a good step for our guys. When you got enough hands, it makes quick work of all the stuff that they had going on. And then got the opportunity to talk to their coaches from the T-ball level up to their majors level about different drills and different ways that they can assist these young players in their journey into baseball. Some just getting it started, some a little bit further into it, but wanted to help these coaches that maybe have no experience in baseball, a lot of experience in baseball. Coach Huckey was a huge asset for that. He's been doing youth camps a lot longer than I have, and he's walked his son through it as well. So he's was awesome to have there, and it was a lot of fun, I think, for our guys to be around that, to give back. They got to play with some of the players on Saturday also, which is an experience for them. And I think the joy of baseball comes out when you get to do a home run derby with, some like 6 through 12-year-olds and they're, popping our little drive line balls over the fence. And I think that's just a lot of fun. It fills your cup. And for me, I'm excited to continue that relationship with them. We're going to have Little League Day at our park coming up where they're going to be able to come over and, have a great time around our game and be on the field and run the bases and do those kind of things. And I think when that relationship's strong, for us, we want to continue to see Western North Carolina baseball get better. And if we can do that from the grassroots of T-ball, great, let's do it. I think it's just it betters our program down the road if guys want to stay home and win. And it's just a fun relationship for our guys to have, to get to coach and remember why they play the sport.
Very good. Coach Julian, we're heading down the stretch here as we're heading towards conference play, this big game versus Cortland on Wednesday, and then a 3-game series at Southern Virginia to head into conference play. From your viewpoint, Coach Julian, what's going to be the key from this point forward to, take things to the next level with this program this season?
I mean, I think Cortland on Wednesday is gonna be a big one. They're really good. They're a perennial powerhouse. They won a national championship less than 10 years ago. Their head coach, Joe Brown, he's been coaching baseball longer than I've been alive. I think I'm pretty sure he has the highest win percentage amongst active head coaches in all divisions. So, he's one of the best coaches in the country, and, enormous amount of respect for him and for that program. But, they got to come to Gill's place and get 27 outs, and, we're not going to back down from anybody. We know it's going to be a challenge, and we're excited for the challenge, and we're excited for the opportunity, and we're going to come ready to go. Moving past that, we know that every weekend is going to be a dogfight. There's no easy weekends in this conference. It comes down to us going out, executing our plan, and playing our game. We're pretty confident that if we play our game, we can hang with anybody. And we're first going to be able to see that on Wednesday against a really, really good team. And then obviously moving forward as we go into conference play, just staying consistent and playing our game. That's what it comes down to.
Very good. Coach Victory, we'll leave the final word for you as far as, perhaps a message to NATO Nation, just how exciting this brand of Brevard College baseball is, how special these student athletes are, how hard they're working. And, obviously, the results are speaking for themselves, but, love to always, remind folks, hey, it's a great day out there at Gil Cone Field if you can come out for a game, whether it's this Wednesday or later in the season. But would love for you to echo that, Coach, however you like.
They're a fun group. They're going to come out. They're going to play with energy. You're going to hear them, the whole day. We're going to run. We're going to pitch. We're going to hit, and it's going to be plenty to celebrate while you're there. The crowds keep getting bigger, I feel like, and our guys notice when folks are there. If you're a professor, they see it. If you're a family member, they see it. If you're an alum, they see it, and they love the support. They love knowing that people are taking notice. And I think initially it was nerve-wracking, but now it's something that they take a lot of pride in, that people are watching. People want to come see them play. Come grab a bingo card, follow along with us, learn something about baseball, see how many bases we're going to steal, and, follow along for this journey. I know our guys have a goal of, being at home for playoff rounds and, maybe messing with graduation a little bit if we got some extra big events going on, but they want it, and they're going to go out there and they're going to do it because they trust our brand of baseball. And the louder it gets there, the better the NATOs are going to do. So come on out and check it out.
Outstanding. Coach Victory, Coach Julian, can you stick around just a couple minutes longer? We're going to bring in your student athletes who are going to join the show this evening as Hayden Jennings has entered the building, and see if we can effort Davis Bryson as well. Yes, there he is, Davis Bryson. Coach Julian, we'll start with you. Help introduce these two to NATO Nation.
These two are two of the most selfless players that we've had in this program. Great dudes, come from great families. They come out every day to work and they bust their tails to make us better. I think if you ask them, they probably want to play a little bit more, but they still do a really, really, really good job of coming every day and working really hard and making sure that they get better to push guys. Whenever they're doing that and all of our guys are getting better, we're going to be in a really, really good spot. Just we aren't the program that we are, and in the spot that we're in, without these two guys.
Very good. Coach Victory, tell us even more about Davis and Hayden.
Yeah, I don't know if I can say much more than what Coach Julian did, but he's spot on. They want black and blue to win more than anything else. They want black and blue to win, and they're willing to do whatever it is, and they take it personal when we're not doing well. And again, that's what makes them really special. They're going to do all the little things, whether it's that one at bat, that one inning in the field. It's important to them, and I love that about them. And they push the younger guys. They hold them, accountable. And because they've been through it, they're waiting just like the younger guys have to wait, and they need to keep pushing. And when our best players are selfless like they are, we're going to be really, really good for a long, long time.
Outstanding. Well said. Can't wait to see you out there at Gills Plays on Wednesday for the afternoon matinee midweek. Thanks for joining the show, Coach Victory. Coach Julian.
Thanks for having us, Phil.
Thanks for having us, Phil. Appreciate it.
All right, there they go. Davis, Bryson, and Hayden Jennings have entered the conversation. Davis, how you doing?
Doing good, Phil. How are you?
Doing great. Great to have you with us. And also with us, Hayden Jennings. Hayden, welcome to the program. How you doing?
Good. Thank you for having me. How you doing, Phil?
Yeah, doing great. Great. It's, baseball season, so enjoying every minute of it. Well, would love to hear from you guys. We talked to your coaches about, this past week, the spring break, able to kind of regroup a little bit. You did some great community service. You guys were able to get some great work in, but would love to hear from you both as far as, what you guys accomplished and how it prepared you for this week upcoming and, for the rest of the season. Davis, let's start with you.
Yeah, this past spring break, we had a few developmental games for our younger guys to play in. I was a part of those, so that was good to get some at-bats and stuff in and just kind of keep the flow going for our routine. And also having a few light practices, it just allowed us to rest our bodies a little bit and prepare ourselves for conference coming up this next week.
Anything to add to that, Hayden?
Yeah, pretty much what Davis says, spot on. I mean, we had a great week to rest, recoup, have a lot of relaxed, good practices, just having fun out there on the field. I mean, like our coaches said, we're heading into the best part of our season, starting conference next week or this coming weekend. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, and Hayden, tell us more. What do you think is the key to the success of this year's Tornadoes team? You guys have had some great results so far, 10-5 to start the season, and really, playing some great baseball. But you guys know the difference. That those of you on the team, whether hey, this is what it takes to win a game, and hey, here's maybe what we didn't do right, where we came out on the wrong end. But what have you noticed, Hayden, as far as the days that you guys are clicking? What exactly is going on there?
Yeah, when we're clicking, we're playing as a team, and it's really fun. Like that win down at Piedmont, it was a great team win, great atmosphere, high energy in the dugout the whole time. The home game sweeps against Toccoa, great atmosphere, great energy. It's a lot of fun. A lot of guys on our team push each other at practice and everything, and it really reinforces that team aspect. And I think when we play as a team and everybody's high energy, especially in the dugout, I mean, there's not a whole lot of teams that are going to beat us.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And Hayden, let's stick with you for one more. As far as you touched on a little bit as far as the preparation during spring break, but bring us inside the locker room a little bit. What you guys are talking about, the goals of the team. How hungry this team is. To continue to succeed and make some noise in the USA South.
Yeah, well, last year, I know Davis can attest to it because we're both sophomores, but it was really frustrating coming up one game short, making the conference tournament last year. I can recall sitting in my dorm room for the last weekend series where we had a bye week and all the other teams in our conference were playing, and sitting there watching Maryville and Piedmont, and you pray one thing happens and it just doesn't happen. And it's a gut punch. And I think our team this year is really trying to leave no doubt when it comes to that. I want to make that conference tournament bad, and I can say that the rest of our team really wants that too.
Yeah, Davis, I see you nodding your head here, and I know how hard you guys worked even during the fall. Every time I'd walk by Gill's place, I could hear the aluminum going in the hit in the batting cages, and you guys working in all phases. But love to hear from you even further, Davis, as far as how hungry you guys are this year. How maybe last year was indeed a springboard for all this motivation, and the goals of the team this year.
Yeah, we're a hungry bunch out there. We know we can do big things. We just have to stay together as a team, and we know we have that potential to leave no doubt to get into that conference tournament and go and win a conference tournament. We just have to go out every day, keep doing what we're doing, pushing each other, and fighting for that conference championship.
All right, just a couple more. Then I want to get into each of you guys and your individual stories. But Hayden, tell us a little bit about this base running that the Tornadoes are so strong at. I mean, you're right at the top of the rankings in terms of team stolen bases. Blake Burchett's tearing it up once again. We've got the trophy from last year, but just this idea of just this burning through the base pass. What's your feeling as far as all that? Is it something you guys talk about internally as far as like, hey, let's maybe take it to the next level? But man, you guys are stealing some bases.
Yeah, well, I'll just go ahead and say I'm not really the fastest guy on our team or anything, but yeah, we're really buying into what Coach Vic is telling us. And it's like we talked about a couple weeks ago. Jack Atkinson and Blake Burchett really set the tone for it last year. So did Logan Clark. And I think everybody on the team is really on board with our aggressive style of play on the base pass. And it's one thing that if you can really do right, you'll see a lot of success for our team. I think it's something that if we continue to get better at, I mean, there's not a whole lot of catchers in the conference that are going to throw out Blake Burchett, Logan Clark, Luke Morton, all those kind of guys.
Yeah, no, makes a lot of sense. And, talking about base running and, you got to talk about defense as well. Davis, Bryson, you're an infielder, would love for you to, tell us a little more as far as, just how big of a priority defense is for the Tornadoes. There's been several games where there's been 0 errors and you guys have gotten it done, but how hard you guys work and also how that's a focus.
Yeah, defense is a big priority for us. I mean, if you can go out there and play clean defense, that really helps your pitchers out. That makes your pitchers more confident to go out there to know that if they just throw strikes, they've got a defense behind them that'll pick them up. And that's a huge part of our game. I mean, if we can do that, our offense will go out there and score runs, and we can win a lot of ball games.
Yeah,
that's one thing that I've always had pride in is my defense, and I want to be really good at that. And we have a lot of guys that are like that. So just having a really good defense behind our pitchers really helps out.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, Davis. I appreciate you saying that because it is oftentimes, you talk about the home runs, you talk about the stolen bases, you talk about the strikeouts, but, you got to get it done on the defensive end as well. Hayden Jennings, a sophomore out of Beaufort, South Carolina. Hayden, tell us a little bit about your baseball journey. When did it get started? When did it become serious? Then, how did you ultimately found Brevard College?
Yeah, so I started playing baseball. I was around 5 or 6, T-ball. Worked my way up through just playing in my county. And then I eventually started playing travel baseball, probably around 10 years old or so. And then when I got to like 15 or 16 is when it started getting pretty serious. It was like, hey, you're going to these tournaments, like put your best A game on so you can get looked at kind of deal. And so played travel ball all throughout my life, middle school, high school. And then right around March of 2020 during COVID, I got into contact with Coach Vic, Coach Huckey, Coach Julian, and started looking at here. And then eventually committed here in late October of my senior year. So
very good. And Dason Bryson, also from the state of South Carolina, out of Easley, South Carolina, infielder, sophomore here at Brevard College. Same question for you, Davis. Tell us a little bit about your journey as a ball player.
Yeah, my journey is very similar to Hayden's. I started out T-ball around 5 years old, went into travel ball around 9 or 10 years old, and just kind of stuck with that for a while because I had a good group, and we just stuck together all the way up through high school, really. And we pushed each other, and that made me want to become better. And throughout high school, I really knew that I wanted to play college baseball. And so I started going to camps and stuff, and Brevard happened to be at some of these camps I was at. My old high school coach actually used to coach here, Coach Gil Payne. And so I had some feedback from him about what the school was like and stuff. So that really pushed me into Brevard.
Yeah. And Davis, perhaps there's a young ball player watching this program right now and trying to make some decisions as far as where they might want to go and play baseball. now that you're here and you've experienced it, being part of the Brevard College baseball team, being a Brevard College student, living here in the mountains of Western North Carolina. Davis, tell us, how it's been and, maybe what you would like to pass along to, somebody checking us out.
Yeah, it's been great. I love it here. My teammates are great, coaches are great, and it's a really good program to be around. We have a lot of fun. We want to win games at the same time, balance winning with fun. And it's just a great place to be around. And anybody that's looking into it, I would definitely consider looking into Brevard in more depth because it's a great place.
Yeah, and Hayden, I see you nodding your head. Tell us about your experience up here in Brevard, and how you're enjoying, not only, the baseball side, but also, being in this part of the country and being a student at Brevard College.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with about everything Davis said. I mean, it's really cool for me going from, standing over on our field and just seeing the mountains all around the field. Where I'm from, it's not really mountains or anything like that, but it's a beautiful place. I love the school. I love the area. I love a lot about it. I mean, our team, we have a great team atmosphere, and pretty much everything Davis said, I'm just going to have to agree with.
Very good. Hayden, tell us a little bit about your academics. Have you zeroed in on a major, and what are you focused on in the classroom?
Yeah, so I'm majoring in business and organizational leadership with a minor in exercise science.
Very good. Same question for you, Davis. Have you picked a major?
Yes, I am an exercise science major with a coaching minor, and I look future plans. I look to go into physical therapy and do a little bit of coaching on the side as well.
Very good. Certainly great programs here at Brevard College. I think excellent selections for each of you. Well, before we let you go, do want to give you the opportunity for any shout outs, thank yous. You could take as long as you want, as far as, people who've helped you along the way, or, you just want to say hello to. Hayden, Jennings, we'll start with you. Shout outs or thank yous?
Shout out my parents, and another thank you to them too. Without them, I wouldn't be here. Without my dad, I probably wouldn't be playing baseball. Yeah, shout out to my parents. Shout out to my high school coach. He was the one that really pushed me to take the next step to, play college baseball and really work hard at it. And then shout out Coach Vic, Coach Julian, Coach Huckey, Coach Melton for everything they do for our program.
Very good. Davis, Bryson, same opportunity for you.
Yeah, first I'd like to thank God for giving me the opportunity to play the sport I love and play it at the collegiate level. And I would also like to thank my parents, my family, my friends, all my past and current coaches. They've all developed me into who I am today as a player and a person.
Outstanding. Well, thank you both for your outstanding work as student athletes here at Brevard College. Can't wait to see the Tornadoes back in action on a Wednesday versus Cortland. That's a Wednesday afternoon game. And then you guys head into conference play before we know it. Hayden, Jennings, Davis, Bryson, really appreciate you joining the show. Best of luck for the rest of the season. Can't wait to see you at Gill's Place.
Sir, thank you,
Thank you, Phil. Thanks for having us.
All right, there they go. And yeah, hope you can join us on Wednesday for the Tornadoes baseball game against the 17th ranked team in the country. Cortland should be a great one at Gil Cone Field. Women's lacrosse will be in action tomorrow as well. We've got tennis on Sunday and softball on Saturday. So all sorts of offerings. bctornadoes.com is where you can follow along and get all your schedules set for the rest of the spring sports, and also be sure to follow the Tornadoes on social media. Well, thanks for joining us for another program here on Tornado Talk. Thanks also to our producer, Joseph Marvin, and all of our guests this evening. We'll see you at an upcoming Brevard College Tornado event. Go Tornadoes!